Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today we're going to take a look at the Tier 7 Tech Tree British battleship HMS Vanguard, which is a great ship, in fact. Yes, it is a great ship. I say that unironically, and with really no qualifications. A week or two ago, somebody asked me to make a video on the Vanguard, and I thought to myself, well, I've already made a number of videos on the Vanguard, and nothing has really changed about the ship. Nevertheless, I want to take it out again because I just think it is quite good. And why do I think it's quite good? Well, I think this is probably one of the most versatile battleships at Tier 7. It's got pretty good armor-piercing shells, and it's got pretty excellent high-explosive shells. It's also got a very fast reload that allows you to switch between the two of them quite easily, and with almost no waiting in between, so that you can always be shooting the exact shell you need in any given situation. And beyond that, the guns are pretty accurate too. Now, they aren't pinpoint accurate, they're no Warspite-like guns. This is certainly not the Warspite at Tier 7, but the guns are accurate enough to get the job done, and the armor on the Vanguard is good enough to keep you protected so long as you are angled. The main challenge that everybody seems to have with the Vanguard is that the firing angles on the guns themselves are, in a word, or in several words, objectively terrible. You do have to give an awful lot of broadside to get all four of these turrets on target. So that means you can't really be giving that broadside when ships are shooting back at you. Like right there, we get lucky with the Kansas. But we did have to turn out from this situation. There's obviously a destroyer going into the Bravo cap. We knew the Kansas was over there. In fact, we popped our reload booster with the hope of being able to hit the Kansas for a nice amount of damage as we made this turn. Of course, we don't get a nice amount of damage, but we do manage to make the turn without losing too many hit points. You can see the enemy team is moving quite aggressively into the Alpha Cap. There's a Montana and a Minotaur over there. So we take a shot at the Montana, who's also broadside. Once again, the results we get are not spectacular. So I suppose maybe this isn't speaking as well of the Vanguard as I might have hoped. But this is actually quite a good game in the Vanguard, if a little bit of a tragic one. And if that sounds like foreshadowing, well, honestly, you probably didn't need any foreshadowing given the title of this game, but there goes the Minotaur with a devastating strike. Always a wonderful thing. The Vanguard is pretty uniquely good at demolishing cruisers, given that it has 15-inch guns with the British, not semi-armor-piercing, I was about to say that, but short-fused armor-piercing shells. Means you're less likely to get over-penetrations on cruisers, not that the Minotaur is especially likely to be overpenned. It does happen to have just enough armor protecting its very exposed citadel that most of the shells that hit that armor are actually going to arm, and when they penetrate, they're going to detonate inside of the cruiser for massive damage. Now, this Tirpitz, who has been in the same spot for most of the battle, has not lost a lot of hit points. Now that the Montana and the Minotaur are both dispatched, well, we have no compunctions about moving in here once more a little bit more aggressively. The Kansas, of course, is still alive, and he's got a lot of hit points. We can see his last known location behind the island over there, and I am concerned for this friendly battleship who is sort of using this island for whatever reason as a shield to the north of the map for the port side of his ship, and he appears to be shooting at this Tirpitz bow on. Not exactly a fantastic demonstration of map awareness, and as we can see, the Alpha Cap is beginning to turn red because the Kansas has entered it, and that battleship, which is a Brandenburg, is giving that Kansas flat broadside. So things are undoubtedly going to go well for him. As for this Tirpitz, well, you can see he's under concentrated fire from a lot of my teammates here. We're shooting high explosive at him. We've got a fire burning nicely Torpedoes are incoming. Taking a look at that Kansas as the Shimakaze swoops in for the kill, and it looks like that Kansas is going to come out broadside toward me. Perhaps the Brandenburg was a little bit more prepared for the Kansas than I initially gave him credit for. It appears the Kansas has eaten a mouthful of the Brandenburg's torpedoes, but ultimately it's my guns that secure the kill, and there is our second kill of the game. That pretty much cleans up 2/3 of the map. It's looking like we're going to be able to take the Bravo cap and the Alpha cap should my teammates choose to go in and flip it. Although both teams are quite even on ships at this point. Just the rest of the enemy ships are all on this one side of the map, aside from that destroyer who just appeared in the Alpha cap. So hopefully my teammates can take him out. Right now I've got to deal with a Jean Bart and I think a key out there 15 or 16 kilometers away. So Jean Bart bow tanking. Well, our armor piercing is probably not going to be super effective against that, but I can tell you one thing, our high explosive will be. We're going to penetrate that Jean Bart everywhere except for his turrets with this HE and start fires. These Jean Barts who bow tank against you in your battleship, well, if you find your AP isn't doing enough damage to them, switch to the HE. They will melt, and if they are bow tanking and they want to get away from your campaign of HE spam, their only choices are to A, reverse, and that's not very well going to help them, or B, try to turn out and hightail it out of there quickly. And if they do want to turn out, then they're probably going to give you broadside in the process, at which point your armor piercing can come in to wreck them. But now that we've got 1 or 2 fires burning on that Jean Bart, we're going to switch our attention to this key out there. We do want to get him off the board if we're going to fight the Jean Bart, because we don't want to have to worry about angling toward the direction of the key. Again, the Vanguard's turret angles, or firing angles, are, in truth, abysmally terrible. So when you're in a situation like this, where you've got 2 separate battleships, and they're sort of far away from each other, and there's a danger of you being caught in a crossfire, well, you want to work at one battleship at a time. This key has very low health, so if we get him off the board, it means we don't have to worry about this side of the map. We don't have to angle toward it. We only have to angle toward the Jean Bart, and that is the goal. It's one of the goals in the Vanguard, is to make sure you maintain your angling. Now, of course, we aren't doing that now. We're giving the key flat broadside, but up until this point, he hasn't shown any interest whatsoever in shooting at my Vanguard. He's too busy with the 2 destroyers and maybe that other battleship out there who are both shooting at him. He doesn't appear to respect our armor piercing either. This is the second time he's given us flat broadside, so we shoot HE at him once again. We're able to light a fire, and now we're switching to the AP so we can hopefully punish that broadside. There's a destroyer 8.1 kilometers away from us. We are totally unconcerned with this destroyer. You can see by his rate of fire that he is a gunboat, and he is a torpedoless gunboat. It's the Friesland. So as we take out the key, we then turn our attention to the Friesland, because even though he doesn't have torpedoes and isn't a threat to us in that sense, his high explosive shells certainly can melt away our hit points if we allow them. But the Friesland is smoked up, we're no longer able to see him, and because the enemy aircraft carrier dropped a squadron of fighters a grid away from us, we were still spotted. Those fighters go down, we get unspotted. The Friesland is momentarily spotted somehow, but he goes dark. We elect to shoot at him somewhat blind, and we do hit him with 2 shells, which is nice. Of course, that causes us to remain spotted thanks to the smoke firing penalty, and that's going to allow the Friesland to farm a little bit more damage off of us, as well as light 2 fires, which isn't honestly a great thing since our damage control consumable is now on cooldown and won't be available for another minute, so we're going to have to let both of these fires burn. And this is honestly a little bit of an annoying situation dealing with this Friesland. Anyway, it's probably a good idea to take note of the state of the game right now as we drive in toward this Friesland in an attempt to find him. Right now we are ahead in terms of both kills and points. We hold 2 caps to the enemy's 1, but that is going to change soon. All of our teammates, aside from the CV, are in the center of the map, and the Shimakaze actually managed to take down the friendly Chapayev, which makes it even in terms of ship now, and the enemy team is quite close to us on points. They've got a destroyer entering Bravo. The last remaining friendly battleship, aside from myself, is fighting with the Jean Bart, and I think Alpha is still open to one of the other destroyers who has not yet gone down. Now, where is that Friesland? There he is. I kind of wonder, in retrospect, whether coming out here all the way to the border of the map was a great idea, but this Friesland really had to be dealt with, and we hit him pretty hard there with our high explosive. You can see that his guns are quite effective. They've taken a lot of our hit points, and this is the second time they have lit a double fire on us, which is honestly quite annoying. But the Friesland's still spotted. He's giving us flat broadside. He's not too far away from us. We're easily able to finish him off with our high explosive, put out the fires, and hit the repair party consumable. But now, the last remaining friendly battleship has gone down. He took the Jean Bart with him, I guess, so that's good. That just leaves this Akizuki and the friendly aircraft carrier. The enemy has turned the tables on us. They've flipped the Bravo caps, so now they hold both Bravo and Charlie. And once again, the point situation is pretty close. We are a bit less than 100 points ahead of the enemy team. Luckily, we have this Akizuki right by Bravo, but there's a problem. The Akizuki is being spotted by the enemy aircraft carrier's torpedo bombers, and the CV is harassing the Akizuki with the torpedo bombers. Moreover, the last remaining enemy destroyer is in the area of the Bravo cap, and that is the Shimakaze. Nevertheless, all this Akizuki has to do to guarantee the win, especially now that the Shimakaze's torpedoes, which I assume those are the Shima's torpedoes, have been spotted, all this Akizuki has to do is turn his ship so that the rear of it is facing the Bravo cap, and then simply reverse into the Bravo cap. You can see I am furiously pinging the Bravo cap to persuade this Akizuki to do this, because, again, the points lead that we enjoy on the enemy team is shrinking with every tick of the clock. And in order to maintain that points lead, literally all this destroyer has to do is get on the cap. He doesn't even have to flip it. He just has to stop the enemy from accruing points. And then if he can flip it, well, then we can start accruing points from it ourselves. But for whatever reason, despite the fact that this Akizuki is literally inches away from this cap, he absolutely refuses to go on it. He just can't do it. I don't know why. Now, granted, I know he is being harassed and spotted by the enemy CV. I know the enemy CV is trying to drop him, and I know the Shimakaze is there. So he's probably concerned about more torpedoes. But I really don't think this is any excuse for him not getting on the cap. And in fact, him not getting on the cap is going to cause the enemy team to get ahead of us on points. Now, in fairness, the enemy CV does take down the Akizuki with his dive bombers. So maybe there was really nothing the Akizuki felt like he could do in terms of taking the capture circle, but I really think he could have gotten on it at least with no problem. Although he didn't, and now he has been dispatched, so the enemy team is ahead of us on points. We've got less than a minute left, and it's a matter of desperation at this point. It'd be great if the friendly CV could spot this Shimakaze and allow us to potentially shoot at the Shimakaze and take him out. If I can do that, then we can win this game, and I can obtain the Kraken Unleashed medal. But things aren't going to go quite that smoothly, and we just don't have enough time left, which leads me to wonder in retrospect whether chasing that Friesland for as long as I did at the back of the map was actually the right play to make. I think it was. I mean, that Friesland had to be taken out one way or another. That did give us some points in doing that, but at the same time it kept me so far away from the battle that I wasn't able to return in time to deal with this Shimakaze. And as such, now the enemy team is nearly 100 points ahead of us, and we are going to lose. The Shimakaze fires his guns as a cheeky little last shot of defiance, while the game ends in our terrible defeat due to that dance with destroyers, or dance of destroyers at the end between the Akizuki and the Shimakaze. An unfortunate result to an unfortunate game. Nevertheless, the Vanguard remains an excellent ship, and I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.